The Department of Mental Health's inpatient units and group homes have been under the care of a federal management team for nearly 2 years. A team originally of 2, appointed by Federal District Court Judge Consuelo Marshall, who sought to avoid full receivership for the agency. But that 2-man team is now down to 1 after the resignation of James Casey, and the remaining manager, Dr. James Kiffer, is himself now threatened with replacement. Plaintiff's attorney Daniel Sommerfleck says Dmhsa Bethesda's liberation from the permanent injunction this past week was not the result of anything those 2 federal managers did. He credits instead the Laddie Treatment Center for doing it on their own.
Separate and apart from what's going on in this case, there are people in our community like these private service providers who are moving themselves forward and are working toward providing levels of care that are required under the injunction.
Yet Dmhsa Bethesda's release from the federal injunction is a fraction of what still needs to be done to correct the wrongs in the island's treatment of its mentally disabled.
I think there are 11 group homes not currently being operated, and this is 1 group home. So that would be 1/10 of the group homes and probably about 1/20 of the entire case, because probably half of the case deals with the group homes and half of the case deals with the standards on the inpatient units.
It's the inpatient units that are the main problem and the focus of the lawsuit that Sommerfleck himself filed about 11 years ago. And Sommerfleck argues those problems still remain.
The biggest issue that still remains and will continue to haunt and will continue to be an issue is the inpatient units.
Specifically, what's the problem there?
Well, specifically what the problem is the levels of care are not even meeting the basic constitutional needs of the consumers.
And over these past 2 years, millions of dollars in Guam taxpayer funds have been set aside, and the federal managers had drawn up a master plan of action to correct the problems at the Department of Mental Health. But, Sommerfleck argues, there's been little improvement.
Well, I think a lot of the energy for the management team went in other directions. And part of what I find frustrating is the issue that this case is about isn't about the building buildings or doing this or doing that. It's about providing the care.
The solution, Sommerfleck believes, is a 4-member board of governors with absolute administrative powers to enforce the changes that are needed, a full-fledged federal receivership.
What are you seeking to?
I'm seeking a receiver at this point.
So how's the receiver going to change what they have failed to do?
Well, I think part of the issue that I see is this is a skill set. And what I think is needed is to have those people that have that skill set, have run these sort of programs. And if you look at the resumes and the vitaes of the people that were suggested by us, these aren't, I did it for a little bit. These are people that have gone through a very long career working and running mental care facilities.
Judge Marshall is weighing comments from Gov Guam, which is opposed to any receivership, and she is expected to issue her decision on whether or not to appoint a receiver by next month. Kevin Kerrigan, PNC News.